Winter, 1777. George Washington's army is dying. The British control New York. Defeat seems certain. But in the shadows, a network of invisible heroes is watching, listening, gathering secrets. They are slaves and free men. They are Black Americans. And they are about to change the course of history. What you're about to discover has been hidden from history books for over 200 years. This is not just a spy story. This is the story of courage that built a nation. If you want to uncover the truth about America's secret heroes, stay with us until the end. And if you believe forgotten history deserves to be remembered, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right now. Let's dive in. The year is 1776, and the American Revolution is collapsing. George Washington stands at the edge of defeat, watching his dream of independence crumble before his eyes. His army is not just losing battles, it is disintegrating. Men are deserting by the dozens every night, slipping away into the darkness because they would rather face uncertain futures than certain death. Those who remain are starving. Their feet are wrapped in rags because there are no boots. Their bodies are covered in thin blankets because there are no coats. Winter has arrived, and it shows no mercy. But the cold and hunger are not Washington's greatest enemies. His greatest enemy is blindness. He is fighting a war without eyes, without ears, without any way to know what the British are planning. Every time Washington moves his troops, the British seem to know exactly where he is going. Every time he plans an attack, the enemy is already prepared. It is as if the British can read his mind, as if they have spies everywhere. And they do. British intelligence is everywhere, feeding information back to their commanders with deadly efficiency. Meanwhile, Washington has almost nothing. His intelligence network is practically non-existent. He sends scouts, but they are captured. He sends messengers, but they are intercepted. He tries to plant spies in British-controlled New York, but they are discovered and hanged. The British General William Howe sits comfortably in Manhattan, surrounded by thousands of well-fed, well-armed soldiers, laughing at the ragged colonial army freezing in the countryside. This is the reality Washington faces. He cannot win battles if he cannot see them coming. He cannot protect his men if he does not know where the enemy will strike. He cannot plan attacks if he does not know where the British are weak. The revolution needs intelligence, needs information, needs spies who can get close to British officers and steal their secrets. But who? Who can walk into British headquarters without raising suspicion? Who can stand in the same room as enemy generals and remain invisible? Who can listen to battle plans and betray nothing on their faces? The answer has been there all along, hiding in plain sight. The answer is the people no one sees, the people no one thinks to watch, the people considered less than human by both sides of this war, Black Americans, enslaved and free, servants and laborers, invisible by design, powerful by necessity. In revolutionary America, to be black is to be unseen. White officers discuss battle plans over dinner, while black servants refill their wine glasses, never once thinking that those servants might be listening. British generals review maps and troop movements, while black housekeepers dust the furniture, never imagining that those housekeepers might be memorizing every detail. Soldiers unload supply ships, while black dock workers carry crates, never suspecting that those workers are counting every barrel of gunpowder and every crate of muskets. This invisibility is not a choice. It is survival. It is the result of centuries of oppression, of being told that you are property, that you do not matter, that you exist only to serve. But what the British do not understand, what they cannot understand, is that invisibility can be a weapon. When you are not seen, you can see everything. When you are not heard, you can hear everything. When you are not considered a threat, you can become the most dangerous person in the room. Some of these black Americans are enslaved, owned by British officers and loyalist families. They serve tea and cook meals and clean bedrooms, and they do it all while their ears are open and their minds are sharp. Others are free, working as laborers and messengers and vendors in the bustling streets of occupied New York. They move through the city like ghosts, present but unnoticed, watching everything and everyone. Their reasons for spying are as varied as they are. Some hope that if the Americans win, they might finally taste freedom. Some have been promised their liberty in exchange for their service. Some simply believe that the cause of independence is just, even if that independence does not yet include them. And some want revenge against the British, who have treated them as less than human, who have beaten them, sold them, used them, and discarded them without a second thought. Building a spy network out of invisible people requires careful planning. Washington's intelligence officers begin quietly recruiting. They approach trusted individuals, testing their loyalty, explaining the risks. The risks are enormous. If a black spy is caught, there will be no trial, no mercy, only a rope and a tree. There will be no honor, no recognition, no medals pinned to their chests. They will simply disappear, and no one will ask what happened to them. But they volunteer anyway. They join this secret war, armed with nothing but their courage and their wits. They develop systems for passing information. A certain pattern of laundry hung on a line means British ships are preparing to sail. A vendor at the market sells apples in a specific arrangement to indicate troop movements. A servant drops a handkerchief at a particular corner to signal that important intelligence is ready for pickup. These codes are simple but effective, hiding in the everyday rhythms of colonial life. Messages travel through a human chain. A servant overhears a conversation in a British officer's parlor. That servant passes the information to a free black messenger who travels to the docks. The messenger tells a fisherman who rows across the river at night. The fisherman meets a Continental Army scout waiting in the shadows. The scout rides to Washington's headquarters. The entire journey might take days, but the information reaches its destination, and lives are saved. One spy works in the household of a senior British officer, a colonel who loves to host dinner parties. The spy serves these dinners, moving silently around the table with platters of roasted meat and decanters of wine. The British officers barely glance up. To them, this servant is furniture, part of the background, as meaningless as the wallpaper. They talk freely. They discuss their plans for the next offensive. They debate whether to attack Washington from the north or the south. They laugh about how easy it will be to crush the rebel forces once and for all. The spy listens to every word, remembers every detail. That night, after the guests have stumbled home drunk and the house is quiet, the spy writes down everything on a scrap of paper using a stub of pencil hidden beneath a floorboard. The next morning, while running an errand to the market, the spy passes the paper to another member of the network. Within 3 days, Washington knows exactly when and where the British plan to attack. He moves his troops. He sets an ambush. The British walk into a trap, and dozens of American lives are saved. The British colonel never knows that his own servant has betrayed him. He never looks closely enough to wonder. He never sees. At the docks of New York Harbor, another network operates. Black laborers work from dawn until dark, loading and unloading ships, carrying supplies, hauling equipment. The British see them as beasts of burden, strong backs, and nothing more. But these laborers are watching everything. They count ships entering the harbor. They note the types of vessels, whether they are warships or supply transports. They observe which supplies are being unloaded, whether it is food or ammunition or medical supplies. They watch where soldiers are being deployed, which units are boarding ships, which direction those ships are sailing. All of this information matters. If Washington knows that the British are receiving large shipments of ammunition, he knows they are preparing for a major campaign. If he knows that troop transports are heading south, he can warn his forces in that region. If he knows that British supplies are running low, he knows when to strike. The dock workers develop a system. They use the goods they sell in the market as a code. A cart heavy with fish means many ships arrived. A cart with mostly vegetables means supplies are scarce. The arrangement of barrels and crates at certain corners signals troop movements. It is a language invisible to everyone except those who know how to read it. One freed black man walks an even more dangerous path. He works directly for the British as a guide and translator, helping them navigate the countryside and communicate with local populations. The British trust him because he has proven useful, because he knows the land, because he seems loyal. But his true loyalty lies with the Continental Army. He is a double agent, one of the most dangerous roles any spy can play. This man feeds false information to the British. When they ask him about roads, he steers them toward difficult terrain. When they ask about rebel positions, he gives them outdated intelligence. When they ask about supply routes, he sends them toward dead ends. But more importantly, he steals documents. He waits until British officers are distracted or asleep, and he rifles through their papers. He finds orders, maps, letters. He memorizes what he cannot steal, and he recreates those documents later from memory. He takes extraordinary risks, knowing that one mistake means death. His greatest triumph comes when he discovers plans for a major British attack. He learns the date, the target, the number of troops involved. He gets this information to Washington with days to spare. Washington repositions his forces, reinforces his defenses, and prepares a counter-strategy. When the British attack comes, they find not a weak colonial force, but a ready and determined army. The battle is fierce, but the Americans hold their ground. British casualties are heavy. The attack fails, and no one on the British side ever suspects that their trusted guide has betrayed them. The intelligence provided by these black spies changes the nature of the war. Washington is no longer blind. He can anticipate British movements. He can protect supply lines. He can avoid ambushes. He can plan attacks with confidence because he knows where the enemy is weak. Slowly, painfully, the tide begins to turn. In Rhode Island, black soldiers and spies work together. They provide intelligence that allows American forces to coordinate with French allies. They help identify British positions and weaknesses. The Battle of Rhode Island becomes one of the war's most successful integrated military actions, with black soldiers fighting bravely on the front lines, while black spies provide the intelligence that makes victory possible. British supply lines begin to suffer. Convoys that should reach their destinations safely are ambushed because someone knew they were coming. Shipments disappear because someone warned American forces exactly when and where to strike. The British become paranoid, suspecting everyone, trusting no one. But they never look closely at their servants, their dock workers, their guides. They never see the truth hiding in plain sight. But this success comes at a terrible cost. Some spies are caught. Some are betrayed by informants or discovered through sheer bad luck. When a black spy is captured, there is no mercy. The execution is public, meant to serve as a warning. Families are torn apart. Children watch their parents hanged. Wives lose husbands. Brothers lose sisters. And there is no recognition, no acknowledgement of their sacrifice. They die as traitors in British eyes and as unnamed heroes in American ones. The fear is constant. Every spy knows that each mission might be their last. They live with the knowledge that they could be discovered at any moment, that torture and death await if they make even the smallest mistake. Yet they continue. They continue because they believe in something larger than themselves, because they hope for a better future, because they refuse to let fear control them. In 1781, the war reaches its climax at Yorktown. British General Cornwallis finds himself trapped, surrounded by American and French forces. The siege is brutal. British supplies run low. Morale collapses. Intelligence has played a crucial role in this victory. Washington knows Cornwallis's positions because spies have told him. He knows British weaknesses because information has been gathered piece by careful piece. When Cornwallis finally surrenders, the American Revolution succeeds. Independence is won. But for many of the black spies who made this victory possible, independence means nothing. They return to lives of slavery. The promises made to them are forgotten or ignored. Masters reclaim their human property. Those who were told they would receive freedom find those promises were lies, or that the men who made them are now dead. A few achieve freedom, but many do not. Most slip back into invisibility, this time erased not by design, but by ingratitude. Records of their service are destroyed or hidden. Names are left out of official reports. Stories are forgotten. The new nation they helped create does not want to acknowledge that enslaved people were intelligent enough, brave enough, patriotic enough to serve as spies. It is easier to pretend they did not exist, easier to tell a story where white heroes won the war alone. So that is what history does. It forgets. A few names survive. A few stories are passed down through families. But most of these heroes disappear into silence, their contributions unknown, their sacrifices unrecognized. They gave everything for a country that gave them nothing in return. For more than 2 centuries, the story of black spies in the American Revolution remained buried. Historians overlooked them. Textbooks ignored them. Monuments were built to other heroes, while these patriots were forgotten. But their story is true. Their courage is undeniable. Their contribution to American independence is immeasurable. Today, efforts are being made to uncover these hidden histories, to restore names that were erased, to honor sacrifices that went unrecognized. These men and women were not just victims of their time. They were agents of change, warriors in a shadow war, patriots who loved a country that did not yet love them back. Their story teaches us that heroism comes in many forms, that courage is not always loud and public, that the most powerful people are sometimes those who seem powerless. It teaches us that freedom is never free, that it is purchased with blood and sacrifice, often by those who will never enjoy its benefits. It teaches us that history belongs to those brave enough to seek the truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. These brave men and women risked everything for a freedom they might never enjoy. They changed history, yet history forgot them. Until now. If this story moved you, honor these heroes by sharing this video. Let their names echo through time. Subscribe to this channel to discover more hidden histories that shaped our world. Hit the like button if you believe every patriot deserves to be remembered. And tell us in the comments, what surprised you most about this untold story? Thank you for watching. Remember, history belongs to those who dare to uncover it.